Hi there. I was lucky enough to be able to go to college, and I went away to college, which means I lived in a dorm. And throughout my 4 years, I had some interesting roommates. So I thought I'd share with you guys some interesting and funny roommate stories. Don't worry, this isn't gonna be like Drama Bomb or like the petty arguments that we had. This is gonna be the stories that I think are funny. This first one is a lesson in idiocy. I, at one point, lived in a dorm with 5 other girls, which was a mistake, by the way, but that's its own whole video. So I lived in a dorm with all these girls, and I only got along with one of them, which is Kate, if you're watching. Hey girl, hey. And we come back from dinner at one point to find that our other freshman roommate has a tattoo on her hand. And we're kind of like, oh, you went out and got a tattoo? And she went, oh no, there's a guy down the hall who does tattoos. He just does it in the dorm. Now, we're just looking at her like, are you fucking shitting me? Like, you got a tattoo in a dorm room? From some, like, sketchy dude? Like, the fuck? And she goes, oh no, whatever, it's fine, it's safe, it's okay. So I, being an honest person, I told her what I really thought. I was like, girl, that was pretty stupid. The reason why you go to tattoo shops is because they get expected and have to be clean. If, like, if he wasn't clean enough, you could get hepatitis or, God forbid, AIDS. So she's like, nah, yeah, it's fine, whatever. So me and my other roommate think it's like totally fucking weird, but we drop the subject. So 2 days later, me, the girl I get along with, Kate, are in the parking lot talking to a RA who happens to be on the volleyball team with Kate. So we're all talking in the parking lot, and the same roommate who got the tattoo on her hand comes up to us and goes, hey, I got another tattoo from that guy, and shows us a bigger tattoo that she had gotten on her foot. So of course, this leads the RA to ask, like, oh, hey, like, where'd you get the tattoo? And she says to the RA, oh, there's a guy down the hall from us who does tattoos right in the dorm room. So, to none of my surprise, like, 2 hours later when we're in the dorm room, we get a knock on the door from the RA and the residence director saying, like, did you get a tattoo in the dorm? Is there a guy doing illegal tattoos in our dorm? Like, what the fuck? And this roommate girl starts screaming at me and my friend Kate, going, oh my God, you snitched on me, keep my name out your mouth, mind your business. And of course, my friend Kate's like, girl, you walked up to an RA and showed off your tattoo and said you got it in the dorm. We didn't say shit, you're just dumb. So of course the residency director looks at her, and she was this nice southern girl. She looks at this roommate of ours and goes, look, we're not trying to be mean or mean to this guy. It's just that tattoos really have to be clean. If you don't have them clean, you could get hepatitis or, God forbid, AIDS. And I stick my head out from around the corner and I'm like, that's exactly what I fucking told this bitch. My story about a person who was dumb enough to get a tattoo from a guy in a dorm, and of course the dude got shut down and it was ridiculous. This next story is proof that Emily watches way too many horror movies. I still was living in this dorm with the 5 other girls, and the other girls who lived on the other side of the room, they were all in the same sorority, so sometimes they would all come home with friends drunk. And unbeknownst to me, one of their friends had this habit that when she was drunk, she would crawl into bed and snuggle with people. I don't know. So I'm asleep, and I'm in the top bunk of a bunk bed, and at the foot of my bunk bed was a huge armoire that was tall enough that I could put my TV on top of the armoire and I could like watch TV in bed. So I wake up and I see this bitch near my TV crawling toward me on the bed. Those of you who know horror movies know my first thought. I thought it was the bitch from The Ring. So I scream and I'm like, not today, and I kick this hoe right in the face. Yeah, so I full on kick this bitch right in the face, and she falls off and she's holding her bleeding nose, and all these drunk girls are like, oh my God, why did you do that? Why did you kick her? So of course I'm sitting there going, okay, look, I thought she was like this undead ghost bitch crawling out my television. I don't know what to tell you. But everything ended up being fine. The girl's nose wasn't broken, it was just a little bloody, and she ended up falling asleep in my bathtub like Kesha. This next one has to do with cultural differences. At one point, I lived with a roommate who was from Nigeria, and, you know, whatever, there was little tiny cultural differences, I didn't care. But at one point, I go to cook dinner, and I preheat the oven, and all of a sudden I start to smell something burning. And I open the oven, and there is a yam chilling out in the oven. No tray, no tin foil, no nothing. Just fucking yam just chilling out in the oven. So I'm like screaming, trying to like turn the oven off and trying to get the smoke down before the smoke detector goes off, because that's just a pain in the ass. And I look over and another roommate was sitting there just looking at me, and I'm like, bitch, you know why there's a yam in the oven? And she just goes, girl, I don't even want to know, and went back to what she was doing, which was fair enough. But I almost burned the dorm down because this bitch kept a yam in the oven. Alright, this last one's a little goofy, but I think it's funny. I lived with my best friend Tiffany for a good 2 years, and at one point we were making mac and cheese. And she takes one of the noodles out of the water and goes, oh yeah, I heard that if you throw a noodle at the wall and it sticks, it means the noodles are done. And of course my reaction was, bitch, just bite into the noodle. What are you doing? But before I could tell her to stop, she takes a macaroni noodle and throws it at the ceiling. And it sticks. The problem is that both of us are really short and we didn't have a ladder, so we had no means to get this noodle off the ceiling. And as far as we know, that noodle is still on the ceiling in that dorm room because no one inspecting the room ever looked up. And those are some of my dumb roommate stories, at least the ones that I think are funny and not just dumb girl drama. So I hope that you at least got a bit of a chuckle out of it. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if that's your thing, and if you've ever had roommates who done anything crazy, feel free to leave that story in the comments, and if they're really interesting, I might make a whole video about them.